Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the last session of the day, and thanks for being with us till the end of this next level day. If you don't have it already, make sure to download the VFirst app on your mobile phone. This way, you can have the experience in there as well. With that, chill for a few minutes. We'll be right with you in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fireside IT. Hopefully you can see me. I'm Diego. I'm Communication Business Partner, IT Europe, and we're super excited to be here talking to you directly from Barcelona, and I'll be your host for today, right? So before we begin, very quickly, some browse rules. So if you've been with us from the first session to this session, you probably noticed, but I need to repeat this to you, just in case some browse rules so we can have a full good experience. Making sure you're not flooding the chat because the organizers will be putting some key information for you there, especially the information for about Slido, so you can send your questions to us, right? So let's make this very interactive. Send your question to us so we can try our best to answer them with the time that we have. Also, if you have your mobile phone on your hands, that's good because you can read the QR codes, and the QR code will take you to our Nestlé Careers web pages where you can find a lot of open positions, and eventually you can apply and work with us, right? So with that out of the way, let me introduce to you our panelists for today. So the first one that we have is Kaushal. Kaushal is a friend of mine. He's sitting here in Barcelona. So Kaushal, do you want to present yourself?
Hello everyone. Pleased to be here. Thank you very much for the introduction, Diego. My name is Kaushal Kapoor. I work in the mobile department as a technology lead. And what does that mean is that I sit at the center between the business and the development team, working with the business, understanding the requirements, and translating that to development work whilst ensuring developer happiness.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for the introduction, Kaushal. We also have with us Gina. Hello, Gina.
Hello, everyone. Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm super excited to be here today with you. My name is Gina Basara. I've been with Nestlé for a little over 6.5 years. I was one of the first 6 people actually who were hired in the IT hub based here in Barcelona. My journey with Nestlé started in the project and program management, and then I moved on to innovation and now into R&D IT. So nice to meet all of you.
What a journey, Gina. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. We also have Esther with us. Hi, Esther.
Hello there. Welcome
Hello.
to all. It's a pleasure to be on the panel. I'm Esther Zoltan. I'm based out of Israel. I've been at Nestlé over 15 years now in different roles, locally, regionally, and globally, and excited to share more about that journey with you today. So welcome, everyone.
Awesome. And with that said, you are beating me for 1 year, Esther. I'm always with you. I have 14. We're very close. Awesome. So with that said, let's just kick off. So while we're waiting for your questions, we prepare some questions to keep the conversation going in the start. So the first question that we have for our panelists here, we want to know, how has Nestlé supported your career development in IT? So for this question, I would like Gina to talk a little bit about her story and answer this question for us. So Gina.
Yes, so as I briefly mentioned, my career in Nestlé started in project and program management in IT. And after about 2.5 years, I then had an interest into innovation. And that's where then I started to share with my manager at the time that I wanted to learn more about innovation and get more involved in innovation and how that could map into my career in the short term within the next, it would be my next move, let's say. So he had suggested some trainings that I take within Nestlé internally, and also suggested that I start to learn more about what the group does. So I started to network and get connected with people in IT innovation. And it took me a year to, develop myself, the skills and the training needed to then find the opportunity when the opportunity presented itself to apply for an innovation role. And I think that was how I was supported in the past to make the transition from project and program management over into the IT innovation world. And so when I joined IT innovation, I also had in that role started to be involved in capability building programs to share the innovation, the fundamentals of innovation, and teach that to others.
No, that's so great, Gina. Thank you for your answer. It's so nice to see, that everything that you learn, you're also sharing later, like a sense of community that we have between ourselves. This is super great. Can I hear also from Esther? You have a different experience, Esther? Do you have a different point of view?
So fun fact, I started my career on the business side and then gradually transitioned to IT. And I would say this is not unusual. Employees are encouraged to grow transversally, and within IT, talents are also rotating, and we are offered agile missions to upskill ourselves and get to know new technologies. And also, I would like to highlight Nestlé's global presence, which opens unique opportunities. I had the chance to work in 5 different countries. So really, there's a lot of opportunity across the different layers of the organization.
No, that's great. That's a great example on how we can, if you are happy with in your country, you have the possibility to do so. My case, I'm not original from Spain. I'm from Brazil, so I also had this opportunity working in Nestlé IT, which is great. I'm so grateful for that. Awesome. So maybe let's move on to the second question, so we can keep this ball rolling while we're waiting for your questions in the chat, on Slido. The next question that we want to ask our panelists is, what are some key skills you will need to grow a career in IT? So now let's go to my man, Kaushal. Kaushal, what say you? What would be some skills that, if you want to be part of the IT team working with you, what would be the skills that people need to have?
Yes, it's a very good question, Diego. Let me bring some technical flavor to this question. I think that in our organization or in any organization, what we need is to have more of an automation mindset. And what does that mean? Is to be always on the lookout for opportunities, for processes that may be redundant, maybe time consuming, manual, monotonous, right? And being on the lookout to see how we can automate that, right? And what does that mean? That it directly translates, these actions directly translate to the savings of time and cost. Because when you're not spending time working on these monotonous tasks, you can put this time to more productive tasks that are more aligned to the business goals. The other point that I have in mind is having an analytics mindset. And what I want to say with that is that it's not just the job of the business analyst or the project manager to having measurability in the goals, but I think even a developer or anyone who works in a team, it's very easy to be able to answer how is your progress going when you're able to gauge by yourself, when you're able to measure yourself, when you have the measurability in your tasks. So I think having these 2 points, having the analytics mindset and the automation mindset is one of the things that I would really value for someone working.
Cool. Agree. So those things, totally agree, totally with you, and they can be a little bit technical. Maybe if I want to hear from Gina, do you have a different perspective on other skills as well that could sum up to the skills that Kaushal shared with us?
Yes, so super great. Kaushal had shared, the hard skills that are necessary for a role in IT. What comes to mind for me are some soft skills. So I have 3 skills I think are very important. The first one is soft skills, your people skills I'm talking about. So while we work in IT and we develop IT products and services, at the end of the day, we are still human. We are working with humans and we are serving humans. So the biggest soft skill you need is to have empathy and to be very user-centric, to know what your consumers, your customers want, what they need, and what their pains are, so that we can solve those challenges for them. The second skill I would say you need to develop a career in IT would also be networking. I never really was a big fan of networking until I learned how to do it and the value of it. So what I mean by that is to attend internal and external webinars, lunch and learns, attend anything that other functions are presenting what it is that they do, because when you learn what others are doing and take the time to do it, you may be working with these groups in the future, in your future projects, or you might even want to be part of their team. And then the third skill I would say would be to learn a new IT skill. So IT is all about information technology. And it is the one industry that experiences constant state of change. And so with that being said, it is vital that you stay on top of emerging trends and never stop learning.
That's a great point that you put in there, Gina. If I can add to that, I work in communication, right? But I did software engineering from my college degrees back in the day, 10 years ago. And to be honest, 90% of what I learned, I had to relearn within time, because as you said, technologies are always evolving and we need to keep up on the new trends and the new aspects of it. So you want to keep up on that area. Very good. Thank you so much, Gina and Kaushal, for your points. I'm going to move to the next question, and this one I want to start with Steph. So the question is, what are some key initiatives that you've helped the business accelerate in recent years? So as was already mentioned by Gina and Kaushal, we're very much receiver-centric. We're very much user-centric. So we're always partnering with them. And you just saw in the previous session that we also partners with external partners like Microsoft and SAP. But internally, our biggest partner is the business. So Esther, what say you? What are some key initiatives that you've helped the business accelerate in recent years?
So early days on the rise of the digital transformation, my main mission was to help brands master the basics, like optimize their websites or enter to the e-commerce space. Today, I'm more invested in helping our markets to be future ready. And what does it mean? Well, innovate with impact, leveraging technologies, emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain, or extended reality.
Nice. Very good. Good examples in there. Do you have any other examples as well? Let's say Gina.
Yes, so one key initiative that I led in the past was leading a network of 100 innovation coaches globally. So at the time, my team's mission was to empower Nestlé IT with capabilities to enable and to foster innovation within the businesses. So I was responsible for leading the network of coaches and connecting them, creating spaces for exchange and inspiring the network of coaches. So this is one of the programs that I was super passionate about, because I was coaching and mentoring a group of change makers who were just as passionate as I was in delivering business value while driving purposeful innovation.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you for the examples, ladies. And that's just to say that, yeah, we really are close to the business and we're working with them to make sure they can accelerate with technology, right? Very good. We have another question here. This one, I'll start with Kaushal. The question is, how has digital acceleration changed the nature of IT operations? And what are the benefits? So yeah, we've been talking about evolving and changing, the technologies is advancing. And so should we, in terms of skills and knowledge. So what changed and what are the benefits?
It's a very relevant question, I think, if you think about it. And I think one thing that comes to my mind is and something that has been very widely adopted across Nestlé is the usage of agile methodologies and what agile actually means, right? So it's I think more than Kanban and Scrum ways of working, but I think an iterative way of working, the part of failing fast, right? What does that translate? What does that mean? It means being able to identify challenges, blockers earlier in the life cycle than at the production life cycle. Meaning when your product is in the hand of the consumer, you don't want to be in that position when they're facing challenges. So you want to foresee that as soon as possible. That's where I think the real benefit of agile methodologies comes into play, and that starts from day zero. It starts from IT, starts from with us. That's one thing. And I think another point that comes to my mind is DevOps, and that's a call back to the automation point that I was making before. Is that DevOps is something that is stands for development and operations. I think many of us would already know, and it's also something a key initiative that I worked on was having development, security, and operations, so that was DevSecOps. Nevertheless, DevOps is a methodology, is the way you implement agile methodology into play in your infrastructure. And I think that has actually really changed. It has really accelerated the business and the markets with their business goals. And I think it's absolutely imperative that if we hadn't identify the opportunities and then implement it as soon as possible.
Yeah. No, thank you, Kaushav. That's very good valid points, especially about agile mindset and agile, you know, thinking in agile way, which
Yeah.
which I learned that doesn't really mean just being fast. It means
Exactly.
much more than that, right?
Yeah.
Should not be confusing just the words. All right, Esther, do you want to complement this? Or do you have a different perspective?
I will compliment Kosha maybe from a holistic perspective that I feel it's an exciting time for IT because traditionally IT was more of a support function or seen as a support function, and today it plays an essential role. So there's a saying that every company is a software company today, which is pointing out that you can hardly remain competitive without investing in technology.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Awesome. Thank you for your points. And now our last question, and then we go to the questions from Slido and see what we are receiving from our listeners. So this one, I would like everyone to have a piece because it's a very broader one, and I think it can really relate to the audience who are eventually seeking for an opportunity to work with us and our IT hubs. So the question is very simple. What advice would you give anyone who wants to grow a career in IT at Nestlé? So let's start with Gina. What do you think?
Yes, so to grow a career in IT at Nestle, I would say to be curious, to be agile, as we've been mentioning in the last 20 minutes, and to be forward thinking. So if your profession is in IT, then you know that we need to be, as we say, to be future forward. So be a thought leader, bring some new ideas, and don't be afraid to share anything crazy or wild, because that's what's going to differentiate us from everyone else.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Gina. Wise words. Kaushav, what say you? What do you think? What
I think
advice
my
would you
point of
give
view,
anyone?
my point of view would be very much aligned to what I think Esther and Gina were also mentioning in the previous answers, is a part about upskilling. IT goes through a seismic shift every 6 months, and the business needs to stay on top of that, which means that we need to bring those skills forward, right? Which means that you need to learn a new skill. Upskilling is something that is very, very important. It's something that we all have to do, and it's always fun to learn a new skill. So upskilling is something that really must be embraced by everyone who's in IT.
Yeah, great. And thank you, Kaushav. And Esther, what would be your advices?
We already touched upon networking, and I think I cannot stress that enough. I would say from a practicality on your career, build your networks actively, and feel free to reach out to any of us or someone in the organization who is already in the position you see for yourself, and make those connections happen.
Yeah, agree. Definitely, we are all open doors. What I would say, it's making sure beyond doing the network, thinking forward, and being agile, and having all those curious, open-minded mindsets. Also making sure you are looking for the opportunities, right? So as a communication person here, I cannot stress enough and invite you to access the career Nestlé career site, and look for the opportunities that are published in there. You've seen the previous sessions. We do have open positions in Barcelona. We have open positions in Bangalore. If you're looking to, eventually go to Mexico, we have a hub there as well. So yeah, be curious, look into the career site and see what we have available. Okay. There's plenty of opportunities in Milano as well. I forgot Milano. We just have open a hub in Milan as well. So yeah, definitely look for opportunities on those places. All righty. So without further ado, I will ask the help for my team in the background to see what questions are coming up. So let me check. So the first question that we have here. So panelists, be ready for our next questions. And the first one is for you, Esther, directly to you. It's about school and university. So which university career do you recommend to a 17 years old who is finishing school now and want to pursue a career in IT innovations? What do you think?
Ooh, good question. I feel that you need to continuously learn, so it doesn't finish with a university degree. And day by day, I'm learning through different channels. Uh, it really depends on how technical you see yourselves and what are the skill sets you need to acquire, whether it's hardcore engineering or you want to stay closer to the business, because within IT, not all roles are super technical. So it's also where, you see yourself. But I literally don't see it as, you finish your studies in 4 or 5 years time, but it's really nowadays a continuous learning and development process, as we talked a lot about upskilling, given the dynamism of this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Esther. What I would say, if I can put my example in the table, which is the other way around, right? So I studied computer engineering, and then when I was done with it, I saw a possibility to work in communications, which apparently has nothing to do with one another. But then what I did was that I went ahead and started doing parallel courses like marketing, digital marketing, and communications, which was not a full year, like 5 years graduation, but that allowed me to start understanding that new skills. And within time, I mean, I've been working in communication for 13 years and I'm still learning, and I will always be learning until I retire. So yeah, I think that's a good mindset to, even though you do have a graduation and you do have, the certificate, keep learning and keep seeking for information from different sources of, of information actually.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Esther. If I move to another question that we received, and I think it's already answered by what you mentioned there. It says, most companies restrict their IT opportunities to computer science and engineering departments. Is it the same with Nestlé? Who would like to answer this one? Maybe Eugenia, do you come from the IT world and then change?
Yes, so actually I got my bachelor's degree in marketing and communications, and now I'm in the world of IT. So I think that, well, you could, as Esther had mentioned earlier, you could obtain your degree in a specific field, but maybe you learn later on that your interest lies somewhere else. I think it's important to know like what you want to do and where you want to go in your career and align yourselves with those types of positions. You don't necessarily need a degree in engineering or computer science. I don't have that degree. But I found a way. How I found a way is that I actually started my career in project management in creative agencies and ad agencies. And then after 15 years in ad agencies, I felt like, well, it's time for me to take my skills and apply them to a different industry. And at that time I was living in San Francisco and I was in Silicon Valley. So I need to be in a startup. So then I transitioned and moved my skills into a whole new industry, and it's a startup world, and then working in a startup in San Francisco for 3 years before coming here to Nestlé in Barcelona IT Hub. And so that's how I found my way into IT and working with engineers and developers through that channel. So, I mean, as you continuously grow, your profession will change over time, for sure it will. So it's knowing like what you are good at and where you can apply those skills.
Awesome.
And
Very
also to
good.
add to that, Diego, is I think it really helps
for it.
to, as you are learning, build your portfolio. So for example,
Yeah.
if you want to transition to UX, build a portfolio. Instead of having a resume which talks about it, show visually that, look, this is what I built. if you want to transition to development, build a portfolio for your projects.
Yeah, no, totally with you. All right, let's see if you receive more questions. Yes. So next one we have here, and I think we touched a little bit about this as well. What are technical knowledge that are valuable to have in Nestlé IT? I think Kaushal touched a little bit on this one, about DevOps, agile mindset. Anything else that we miss eventually? Someone wants to add?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe we covered everything, right?
But just to add to this, I think we like you were saying, Diego, we covered everything. But just to add, it depends on the kind of department, the type of position that there is.
Yeah.
So potentially you cannot put AI as a skill where it is not needed, right? So what you want to be looking at first and foremost are the soft skills at the culture behind the person, because I personally would be looking at the person first, that I can work with the person or not, and the technical skills will be gauged as well.
Yeah, both parts are very important and very relevant whenever you're looking for a new opportunity and looking to get into the market, right? So yeah, definitely one thing to bear in mind. Go to the website again, look into the positions that are open, something that interests you, and find the gaps. There will be a list of requires in there. So what are the gaps that you have, and eventually you can learn how to address those gaps, and then you're ready to to get into it and really apply for the positions, right? And then again, don't expect to have 100% of the list fulfilled, because it's very hard sometimes. So if you feel like 80%, 90%, you're feeling comfortable, you feel you can do it, just apply, and eventually you can get the position to yourself. Is that it? Is that good? Okay.
That's
awesome.
Perfect.
Moving on for the next question that we have. What are the soft skills? And I think we touched that again. No IT that help you excel in Nestlé IT. And I think Gina touched a little bit on that as well, right, Gina?
Yes, I did. I said the biggest soft skill is to have empathy, to have this strong people skill, to listen to your receivers. This would be people who you work with, to listen to your customers, to the business, to the consumers. So this is one of the key soft skills, as well. Communicating. Everyone needs to ensure that they're communicating, what it is that what your needs are, and understanding the needs of the business as well. I would say empathy is the top soft skill.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Very good. Esther, do you have any other top skill that you believe we should add on to this list?
Look, I always feel that leadership, we are all leaders, no matter what title. And that's super important, especially today's volatile business environment, that we're able to step up, be empowered, take decisions. So it's really not linked to any title, but to be present with your leadership skills and bring that on the table.
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you for your answers. So we have one that's very specific, and maybe I can address this one. How does UX UI design fit into your core function of IT? Does anyone wants to tackle this one? Otherwise, what I can say is that all IT skills can be tackled eventually, but we do have a specific department for UX and UI in IT. So if you are good on this and you also feel like you want to get into this opportunity, you're probably going to find something in the Nestlé Careers website. So go there if you're looking for something more specific. So now I want to hear from all of you. That's a very interesting question that we received. What's the biggest challenge you have faced so far? So maybe let's start. While the ladies are thinking, Kaushal, my man, what do you think?
Right. Well,
Can you remember
biggest
something?
challenge. Yeah. Something
in a project eventually, or moving from one country to another could be also a challenge.
Well, I think I don't
it
even
was for
think about
me,
it.
I can say.
moving from India to Barcelona was we had some culture. I had some culture shocks over there, but it was all part of the fun experience. But that was not the challenge. The challenge that I received at work was transforming the whole infrastructure of mobile applications infrastructure, moving to DevSecOps, which I was touching before. It was something that we knew based on our feedback from our markets and businesses. That was the biggest pain point, and implementing that infrastructure was absolutely imperative, but it did not come easy. So what it meant was aligning with all the stakeholders and ensuring that their alignment and their buy-in was there. So I think having that collaboration, having that buy-in, getting them involved in the business strategy was probably one of the biggest challenges. Implementing it, the technical part was not a challenge. Was when you had to get the people convinced. I think that was the biggest challenge, and that was probably the most fun thing as well.
Awesome, thank you, Kaushal. Do you have any other example, Gina, Esther?
For me, my biggest challenge, I'll say, is that, as I mentioned, I came from an ad agency world, creative world, and project management. And my biggest challenge was actually adapting to a more corporate environment for myself. And it was hard for me to adjust a little bit. But eventually, with time and the learning curve was, it took me a while to get past the learning curve of how to adapt myself to the environment I was in. And it was a good thing too for me, because I learned a lot in terms of program management and project management here at Nestlé. So it takes a while to learn. I would say, like, when you do come on board here in Nestlé, is that it will take some time, and don't beat yourself up over all these acronyms that you'll have to eventually learn, because there's tons of them, and you just want to always make sure you know what the acronyms mean, because it could mean something else. Yeah, it's a really great learning to be part of such a large organization and learn new ways of working, new processes, new approaches to doing things. And I think that was my biggest challenge, is moving from, creative agencies and startups over into Nestlé, but I've built a very strong network. And so people, I would say the best part of working at Nestlé are the people, because the people are, we say good food, good life. I will also say good people within the company.
Great. Awesome.
Gina, probably that's the biggest challenge everyone is facing, to understand the complexity of Nestlé. And I think after 15 years, I'm still in this challenge. So it was a good point.
Awesome. All right, so we have another question here, and it reads: I love staying indoors with my computer, and I really love to be an IT person, but sometimes I feel I don't have the best IQ in the world. What do I do? So what advice can you provide to Lucky? Anyone would like to start?
I would definitely add that don't worry about it. I think what matters is more than your IQ. I think I would really value first two things. One is your persistence towards work, the collaborative spirit, the ownership on the project side. And I'm sure you're a smart person. I think we all have that insecurities about ourselves. But I'm sure if I give you a project and I tell you, Lucky, you have 7 days to finish it, I'm sure you'll do just fine. So don't stress about it. Like Diego was saying, go to the career options page, find something that you vibe with and apply. That's it.
Yeah, I think one important thing here as well, it's not a freak out about the number, the IQ number. It's just, a measure value. Is think about how you can ask for feedback from others. Sometimes we have a perspective of ourselves that eventually could be wrong, right? So others around us can help us understand a little bit more what we actually can achieve or not. And then we can find those gaps and fulfill them. So that would probably be my advice here. Very good. So in the next question, Kausho, and I'm gonna go back to you on this one because you mentioned this specific topic that probably generated this question. So the question is, do any of the panelists have any tips for building a personal IT portfolio? So how do I create this? Do I sum up my projects on a web drive, or what would be a good solution or an example on how to build my portfolio in IT?
All right. So look, showing something visually is always best than talking about it, because I know that, okay, I have it in my hand. You know, you send me a portfolio, and I say, okay, this guy clearly knows what he's talking about, or he or she knows what they're talking about. So it depends on, again, what kind of skill. So like we were discussing UX UI, you have a portfolio where you did case studies of a particular app or a particular brand, right? So the opportunities and ideas are out there. For example, let's assume that a portfolio for a mobile application developer, all you need is an idea, or all you need is a particular, or not even an idea, just something that displays that, okay, I know that you know how you can connect to a backend, how you can call an API, stuff like that, right? So portfolio is all about exploring and then building case studies about things that you might really be interested in.
Yeah, yeah.
So Google that. I think there's plenty of things out there. You'll be fine.
Yeah, can I add to Kaushal?
Sure.
I would say in building your portfolio, LinkedIn, I'm sure we're all on LinkedIn as your professional network, is that share what it is that you're doing. Don't wait to share to update your resume. Like, as you get involved in volunteer work, as you take certifications, you have to share what it is that you're doing, and then that makes you're building your portfolio in that way as well, in your own brand, and then you become attractive to, you know, recruiters and others in other organizations. When you're sharing what it is that you're doing, you're sharing articles, you're writing what interests you. So share your opinions and share the work that you're doing on your professional network.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Very good. So the next question that we have, I'm gonna direct to you, is that, or maybe Gina, both of you could answer this one. How do you advise? What would be your advice on moving from business to IT? So you mentioned that you came from the business, right? So
Yeah.
what would be your advice to do this transition?
Look, I had always a passion for tech, so I don't feel, when you asked about challenge, it came to my mind first whether it was a challenge to come to IT or not, but I don't feel, because I feel like I was close to tech. However, I'm not an engineer. I would say, as I mentioned before, in IT, not all roles are necessarily very tech related, or what requiring strong technical background. So my first role in the digital hub was a digital integration manager, with the scope to actually support the markets, the businesses. So it was a great like middle way, that I come from the business understanding what the business needs, and I bring back the value from IT. So you see, there are these bridging roles where you are directly in touch with the business, you understand the needs, but you're able to speak the IT language as well. So these integrator roles are there, and it's, I would say, maybe like the most natural first transition.
Very good. Awesome. Gina, do you want to add to that, or that was complete?
That was perfect.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So maybe I'm going to keep with you, because the question is directed to you. So the question is, Gina, what are the difference between working in Nestlé versus working in a startup? So you have the experience on both words, right? So you mentioned something about the corporate side, but what else? What would be more differences between them?
Well, I would say the biggest difference in working at Nestlé versus a startup is that you have the resources and you have the the team here in Nestle. So you have a very strong team. You have all the products and services that you need to help the businesses within Nestle. So there's not it's not a harder struggle, I would say, versus in a startup world. I would say that's probably the biggest difference.
Very good. Thanks, Gina. Next question that we received here, how to build trust after changing your field? Recruiters prefer having someone with academy and professional background. So this is not really a question, it's more an affirmation that, you know, recruiters have this tendency to prefer having someone with the certificate or the academic background. So what I would say is that, you know, don't get too attached to those things and apply, because think about having the know you already have. So if you don't try it, you will never know. But it could have a tendency, but from my experience, there's a lot of people that don't really have an IT background in this meeting. And you know, this session is a clear example of that. And you know, you still get to, you know, be part of it. So really try for it. Awesome. So we have one specific for you, Kaushal. So what are the leading priorities when developing a mobile app for Nestle? Is user experience given priority?
Oh, yes. Yeah, user experience is definitely one of the top priorities for and aligned across the business markets. We take the UX very seriously, and it is part of the development life cycle, what I like to call design ops, right? We work with a lot of mobile applications. We actually have the infrastructure to support these mobile applications, and even we also use UX UI because we understand that ultimately it is like Gina said, it's humans using your product, right? So it just really makes sense that we put this user at the center of it by using user experience. So to answer, yes, UX UI is very important, and hence it's really valued while developing mobile applications.
Very good, very good. Thanks, Kaushal. The next question, and this is, it's not specific about IT, but it's a very interesting question that I would like to everyone to have an opinion on that. This isn't a question specific about IT, like I said, but what are your tips for students who are entering the corporate world who has no particular job being had? So probably at some point on our life, on our journey after graduation and seeking for the first job opportunity, we had this confusion, right? Like, I don't know where I'm going. I do have this graduation, but what is exactly the role that I'm applying? What companies should I choose? You know, where should I actually be connected with? Who are the network that I need to build? There's a lot of questions in the beginning. So the question is, do you have any tips for the students to, you know, kick off this journey a little bit better? Or if you want to share your experiences, who wants to start?
I'm happy to start, get the ball rolling. I think,
let's go.
Well, we always say that we should like explore what we are interested in, and that holds true, right? What I would suggest is someone wants to enter the corporate world, irrespective of what you want to do, is to actually make something. Because what happens while making something is that you go through the entire step of gaining that experience from a very grassroots level. You understand the challenges not just from a user perspective, you also understand the challenges from a developer perspective. You put on the hat of everyone when you're making that particular product, or not even a product, making that particular service, right? Whatever you're interested in, that gives you the valid experience immediately right off the bat. And so that's what I personally, and I think everyone would really value, is that, okay, this is someone who, apart from the college, has actually built something on their own time. So if anything, this person can teach me. I would say that probably is a good starting ground.
Cool.
I will jump in, and I think I'll promote a bit the Nestlé Youth Program. So if you are a young professional coming out or still just like finishing your studies, seek out for opportunities, because we have a corporate program on global level providing different opportunities. Even in Barcelona, the Global Digital Hub, we have many different internships where you can rotate, understand which field is closer to you, because I think you need to experience a lot. When you are at this early stage of your career, and where you are starting, maybe you will completely shift something along the lines what Gina already mentioned. I don't think it's a fixed route, especially these days. So experiment as much as possible, and go out of your comfort zone. That's just maybe a generic mantra, what I can suggest.
Yeah, great. Gina, anything else to add after those two?
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, so I will just say, I would say know what you're good at and do what you love, because you want to align yourself with companies or like Nestle or any company, and ensure that your values are aligned with the values of the company. I think is very important, that you invest your time into a company that you are aligned with. And know what your passions are in life. And so I think that's what will make you successful in any company and in your career.
Awesome, very good. Thank you all for your answers. I'm gonna move ahead for the next question, and we have a few more, and then we can wrap up. So next question would be, how does it look like to navigate from a fresh graduate to leadership in Nestle, and what do you look for such growth? Do you have any experience for many of you who started as an intern in the company? No? So maybe I tell my story because I started. Go for it, Dexter.
No, I'm actually curious about your story, Diego. So go ahead,
Okay.
and then I can compliment.
Yeah, no, well, long story short, because it's very long, 13 years, but I started back in 2009 as an intern. And it was an intern in development, which was not a communication area. But yeah, after 1 year, my manager came to me and said, okay, I feel like you have a lot of skills in comms, and we do have a position. Do you want to try it out? And then I tried, and I fell in love with communication. I found my passion on that. So my challenge was, how do I transition from being an engineer, a software engineer, to a communicator, right? The skills that you learn in universities are not the same. So I spent a few years studying, catching up. I had a great manager at the time who taught me a lot of the basics that I need to learn. And then, after a few years, I catch up, and here I am. So I came from the internship, 10 years working in Nestlé Brazil, and now 3 years working in Barcelona, and now leading the regional communication for Europe. So yeah, definitely there's an opportunity to start from an internship and then goes to very leadership positions. So yeah, definitely an option in this company.
I would maybe just say, don't chase titles. We are all leaders within our roles and positions. I came to the company for a summer job. 15 years later, I'm still here, part of the global IT innovation team. But never look at. I know I was there at the earlier stage of my career, that every 2 years I just wanted to move and go higher. But looking back, really, we talked about building portfolios. Build your portfolio of skill sets as well. Build a hybrid profile that you are capable of, going to different streams and try out different things. So I believe that's the route to success.
Wise words could not be said. Thanks, Esther. Very good. So awesome. Next question, and we are close to the wrapping up. What's your mindset when facing a challenge that it seems impossible to overcome?
Ooh,
So think about it. On that
good
project,
question.
wasn't going very well, and you feel like that's impossible. Maybe impossible is a word that we are trying to avoid, because we want to make sure, you know, we are getting to the challenges and making the impossible possible. But let's just say there was a situation that you felt like, well, this cannot be done. What do we do? What's the mindset? Do we have an example?
I will say that nothing is impossible. And our motto, our mantra is to make IT possible. And
Exactly.
so I do believe that nothing is impossible. And like I mentioned earlier, the difference between a startup and a corporate or working at Nestlé is that you're surrounded by a team of people. And so when you feel stuck or you feel like, this is impossible, I can't do this. Well, first of all, you shouldn't think that it's impossible, but you have people surrounding you to help you and to support you. And so never feel like you have to go at it alone, because you have the support of your team. And we're a one big IT team, and we want to help each other succeed and achieve our goals and our objectives. So it comes down to people, like the people make it possible. So that's what I would like to say.
Awesome. That's very good. Very much aligned. And yes, we make IT possible. Anything else to add, Esther, Kosho?
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I think
that
that's the beautiful part about Nestlé IT, about Nestlé in general, is that we don't work in silos. We work in a very collaborative mindset. I would personally go up to the 7th floor and see what Gina is up to, and see what synergies we can find amongst each other. It's literally like Gina says, perfect. It's about people, and people are the power of is our secret sauce of Nestlé IT Hub. So you don't have to do it alone, like Gina said. Come over, talk to us, grab a cafe, and then we can figure it out together.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Alrighty. Next question. I'm a final year IT major, and I started learning data analytics 2 weeks ago. Can I start applying for data analytics roles? Interesting question. What do you think, anyone? Or should I go for this one?
Maybe internship type of roles. You are still in a learning curve, so I think it's important to place yourself where you are in your maturity, knowing that subject data and analytics is definitely key IT focus area within Nestlé and in general today. So I strongly suggest to upskill yourself because this is very demanded on the market today, and check if we have within Nestlé or in the industry any position where you can get on the job further skills and develop yourself.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So we are out of questions. I mean, we're probably going to receive more, but we need to wrap up this session today. So first of all, Kosho, thank you so much for your presence in here, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you so much, Diego, for hosting us. Thank you, the whole team. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Gina. And yeah, pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gina. Thank you for being here with us as well.
Thank you. My pleasure. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, and thank you, Esther, as well. Esther, it's in a different country from us, and it still made it possible to join with us. So thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you, and thanks for all the good questions, and hope you found it valuable, and feel free to reach out to us if we can support your journey
100%.
anyway.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for everyone listening to us until today, until this time. That was the last session of the day, and we are happy that you could have the time to be with us. So I have some messages to close up this session for you. Since this is the last session of the day, we start fresh tomorrow morning with the next level. Tomorrow is the last day of this amazing e-convention virtual event. So be sure to be there tomorrow morning if you want to learn more about supply chain and technical production. I actually have, I believe, let me see my slides. Whoops, too much. So yeah, tomorrow is going to have a session about connected factories, digital and manufacturing with Howard Baker, which is our global head of engineering services and technology. So you really don't want to miss this one. If you do miss it though, or if you miss this one as well, don't worry, because this is recorded and you can watch it again later on. So feel free to share your thoughts, share your feedbacks, and share your participation on your social media using the hashtag NestLevel2022. And yeah, that's all from my side. Have a great day, everybody, and I see you soon.